you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 30-minute dinner ideas. So these are going to be dinners that you can throw together in less than 30 minutes. So really quick and easy to pull together. If you need something for a busy weeknight, or you're just really busy with kids or work or whatever you have going on, these are going to be perfect when you don't have a lot of time. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, I would love to have you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I share a lot of really quick and easy recipes, what's for dinners, crock-pot meals, grocery hauls, and other motherhood related content. So if that is something that you're interested in, make sure you are subscribed. And let's go ahead and get into all of these 30-minute dinner ideas. For this first dinner, I'm making a creamy sausage tortellini. This turned out so good and had so much flavor. So I'm starting off with about a pound of Italian ground sausage, and I'm just going to be browning this up in my Dutch oven. That's always my favorite pot for browning any sort of ground meat, but go ahead and get all of that cooked up. Now while that sausage is browning up, I am going to be making my tortellini. So this is a 19-ounce package of tortellini. I just picked mine up at Walmart, and I'm just cooking this according to the package instructions. So once it came back up to a boil, I cooked it for about 3 minutes and it came out absolutely perfect. So now here into my sausage, I'm going to be making a little sauce. So here I have about 28 ounces of diced tomatoes. I used the petite diced tomatoes, and then I added in just a couple shakes of some crushed red pepper. For seasonings, I did a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and then you're just going to want to add salt and pepper to taste here. The recipe did not call for any garlic powder, but I felt like I wanted to add a little bit, so you can definitely do that if you want to as well. And then I'm just mixing all of this together, and I'm gonna bring it up to a simmer for a couple of minutes. Once my pasta had completely cooked through, I just drained it off, and then I'm adding it right into my sauce. I'm also adding in about 3 cups of some spinach. I just eyeballed it here. My spinach was actually frozen because I always like to freeze the leftover spinach instead of tossing it out because I can use it in a later recipe, but I'm just stirring that in here until it's nice and wilted. And then I'm also adding in about a cup of some heavy whipping cream. You could probably get away with doing a little bit less if you want to. It's just not going to be as saucy, but I'm just gonna kind of let this come up to a nice little simmer. You definitely don't want to have this over a high heat. Definitely have it on a lower heat, and you're just going to let all of the flavors kind of marinate together. And then you're also going to want to add in about a cup of mozzarella cheese. Again, I'm just eyeballing this here, and just get all of this cheesy goodness stirred in there. This is what the pasta should look like when it is all done cooking. This is definitely a really good dinner and very easy to pull together in just a couple of minutes. For this next dinner, I'm making some KFC Famous Bowls. Now, I actually got this idea a while back from my friend Kayla, the Unmodern Millennial. I will have her channel linked down below, but I'm just starting off by making my mashed potatoes. My favorite way to make mashed potatoes is in the Instant Pot. I always just think it turns out really good that way. Super easy and hardly any work, so definitely try it if you've never tried making mashed potatoes in your Instant Pot. But I just have some yellow potatoes here that are peeled, and then I'm just cutting them up into some big chunks, and then I'm just covering them up to the top with water. You do want to make sure all of the potatoes are covered, and then I'm just adding in a little bit of salt, probably about a teaspoon. I'm not really sure how much I added here. And then I'm just stirring that in there, and then I'm going to pressure cook these on high for about 8 minutes, and that is always about right for me. After the potatoes are fully cooked, I just release all of the pressure. You can do that right away. You don't have to do a natural release. And then I'm just draining off the potatoes and getting them mashed up. I always add them right back into the Instant Pot because they stay nice and warm that way. And I always like to mash my potatoes up before adding in all of the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just adding in a little bit of butter, some sour cream, salt and pepper, keeping them super basic. Of course, you can make mashed potatoes however you want. This is just how I make our mashed potatoes. I know some people like to add in cream cheese or whatever else that you have on hand. And then of course I'm adding in a little bit of milk, and then just getting all of those mashed up. I do just want to mention too that if you don't want to go through the hassle of making regular homemade from scratch mashed potatoes, you can definitely use the instant kind here, and it's not going to matter a ton in this recipe. It's still going to be absolutely delicious, so you can save the time if you want to. But now we're heading over to my air fryer, and I'm just making some popcorn chicken. You could also use chicken nuggets here if you want. Most of the time that I make this recipe, I will usually make chicken nuggets from scratch, but I totally wanted something easy on this night, so that is what I'm doing here, is just popping those into the air fryer. Now this might seem like a lot of steps in this dinner, but I promise you it's really easy. Here I'm just mixing up the brown gravy. I definitely like the brown gravy. I feel like it's pretty similar to the KFC gravy, or the most similar that I have found anyway. So I always just use the package and get that going. And then into my other pot, I'm just throwing in a can of corn, and we're also gonna be adding that onto our famous bowls. So to assemble these, I always just like to put my mashed potatoes in the bottom of the bowl, and then I'm going to top it with the corn, the gravy, the chicken, as well as some cheese, because you know you have to have some cheese on this famous bowl. But I promise you guys, these always turn out so good, and they're really not very hard to throw together. So thank you, Kayla, for showing me this recipe, because I never thought about making it at home before, but it's definitely a family favorite in our house. For this next dinner, I'm making a skillet sausage and zucchini. This was my first time trying this recipe, and I actually really enjoyed it. So here in my bowl, I have 1 bell pepper cut up, 1 onion, 2 zucchini, as well as my 4 sausage links. I chose to use Polish sausage just because I always have that on hand, but definitely feel free to use whatever sausage that your family likes. We are starting off in my Dutch oven again, so I'm just adding in a little drizzle of olive oil, letting that heat up, and then I'm going to be frying up my sausage before I add in any of my veggies. So I let these cook up for probably like 5 minutes or so, just until they were starting to get a little bit brown, and then I'm just removing them off onto a separate plate, and I'm going to be using this same Dutch oven to cook all of my veggies in. Now into my pot, I'm just adding in another little drizzle of olive oil and letting that heat back up. And then I'm going to be adding in all of my veggies. So this is the onion, the pepper, as well as the zucchini. And then I'm also going to be adding in all of my seasonings here and my spices. So I will list everything out that I have here, but I also will have the recipe in my description box if it's easier for you guys to follow along with there. But this is a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, as well as about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now I thought the seasoning was perfect in this dish. I did tweak the measurements from the original recipe just a little bit to my liking, but I think you guys will like it. It was pretty good and fairly mild. Once I had cooked all those veggies up, it probably took about 5 minutes. I'm just adding that sausage back in with a big scoop of minced garlic, and then I'm just gonna let the sausage warm back up for a couple of minutes. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little unsure of how we would like this meal just because there was really no carb here. It's just pretty much all protein and veggies, but I actually really enjoyed this one. I think you guys would actually really like it. It had a lot of flavor from all of these spices, so definitely give this one a try if you want something a little bit healthier. For this next dinner, I'm making one of my favorites. This is tomato and sausage orzo soup. It is so good, you guys. You're gonna love this one. My kids love this one as well, and it's really easy to make. So I'm starting off with a pound of some pork sausage. Definitely play around with the sausage here. You can use whatever your family likes. And then I'm also adding in about 1/2 of a chopped up yellow onion. And I'm just gonna cook this completely through until my sausage is all the way cooked and the onions are nice and translucent in color. Once that sausage had fully cooked, I'm just adding in a big scoop of minced garlic. Now, if you have really fatty sausage, this would definitely be the time to drain it. Mine really was not very fatty, so I didn't even bother with that. It just didn't need it. But now you're gonna be adding in your chicken broth. So I like to add in just a small amount first, just to kind of deglaze the bottom of my pot. And then I'm gonna be adding in the rest. So total, you're going to want about 4 cups of chicken broth, or you can also use chicken stock if you want. Either will work just fine for this recipe. And then you're going to want a large can of crushed tomatoes. This is a 28-ounce can, so get that added in there. I add in just a couple crushed red pepper flakes. Definitely don't add too many or it will be spicy. And then you're going to want about 2 teaspoons of some Italian seasoning, along with a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. I really do not usually add any salt or pepper to this. Sometimes I will add a little bit to the bowls if I feel like it needs it, but it really doesn't need too much salt because we already have quite a bit from the sausage. Once that comes up to a simmer, you're going to get your orzo pasta added in there. So this is 1 cup of orzo pasta, and I just cook that until the noodles are all the way cooked through. After the pasta had fully cooked through, I'm adding in about a 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, or you could totally use half and half here as well. And I'm just gonna stir that into the soup, and then it is ready to serve. I always like to serve ours with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, but I absolutely love this soup and my kids really enjoy it as well. So if you're looking for a really nice, cozy, warm soup during winter, this is going to be a perfect one for you. Well, that is going to wrap up this 30-minute dinner ideas video. I really hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you have not already. I would love to have you over on my channel for a lot of really easy recipes and motherhood related content. So definitely make sure you are subscribed, and I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
As a young girl, the fields were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free, without a care.